Live from, I forgot to write this part of the intro. It's a Friday wrap-up Business Pants. Woo!
2023.
2023, our first Friday wrap-up. Next Friday, next week, next Thursday, I think. Next week, Friday, we're going to do our prediction-gasm, where we predict all the things that are going to happen in 2023. But until then, that's Ari, the Data Queen, and Jesse, the Money Whisperer, and I am the one true BS correspondent, Matt McCarthy. Damien is still gone.
Where is he? Is he swimming back from the Azores?
We don't know.
There's literally no one knows where he is. He hasn't been in touch. He hasn't been on Slack. There's no emails. There's no nothing.
Is he alive?
I have no idea.
He doesn't have social media, so we can't track him.
I think he could have flown to France in a Southwest flight, for all I know.
Oh, jeez.
Which would have gotten canceled
never coming
somewhere
back.
halfway across the Atlantic.
He's stuck in the cargo compartment somewhere.
On today's stinky, smelly bag called January 6th, 2023, Story of the Week, Goodliest of the Week, Holiest of the Week, Exhaustingest of the Week. And I'm guessing that I'm the only one who won the week. We're not doing any predictions today because we've got to save all the predictions for the prediction-gasm next week.
Hell yeah.
Does anybody have anything to say before we start? Because you guys haven't been on a show in 2023 yet. Do you want to thank anybody?
Show. Well, I'd like to thank my mom for listening.
I'd like to thank you for employing me full time.
That's right. Jesse is full-time employed with Free Float now and forevermore. And big news out of the Free Floatosphere. We're moving into a new office.
We have an office. We're legit.
Which means our backgrounds when we do live videos are going to change. It's not going to be my cool hi-fi equipment anymore. It's going to be
my
an
Zen
institutional
setup.
Wall. Like it's going to be something terrible.
But don't worry, Ari's bringing fake plants.
I've got it. I've been keeping my eye out for basically cheap fake plants on eBay. We're saying next week on Thursday, the author of Woke Inc. and the tip of the spear of anti-woke, Vivek Ramaswamy, will be joining us on the show next week. So if you want to hear that, come back for that. Otherwise, let's just do this thing. Let's go into, Story of the Week. You like the new newsreel?
I like it.
It's jolly.
I got 3 stories for you. First up, we have absolutely no government.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that is obviously in the United States, if you're paying attention. Kevin McCarthy is still being elected the Speaker of the House for the 13th time today. He will fail again, I'm sure. And the result of this is 2 things. Number one, McCarthy's House of Representatives, their agenda included the following. Now, usually this isn't much of a business story, but, he's kind of like the CEO of the House of Representatives, so I'm just going to say it is. But here's the things that they're not getting done while they're busy not electing him. Closing the border. They said that they were going to work on either ousting the head of DHS or you close the border. Death penalty for drug traffickers bringing fentanyl into the country. They wanted the death penalty for them. So that's just blanket. Just kill them all. Rolling back IRS funding and doing special committee investigations of the Department of Justice and the FBI for political targeting, which is basically where McCarthyism in the 50s is now going to be McCarthyism in the 2023s. Removing radical liberals from committees. He's threatened to remove all the radical liberals in the House from committees. I guess they define what that is. Rolling back climate and healthcare parts of the infrastructure bill. Investigating Hunter Biden. Federal bans on abortion. And then all sorts of China stuff. And here's where it gets even more businessy. Weighing in this morning, Elon Musk tweets support for the embattled Kevin McCarthy in his quest to be House Speaker. That's right.
That dude just inserts himself in everything.
I did like, though, I went to majorityleader.gov, the website, and it had a 404 error. It said the requested resource is not found. And it's true. There is no resource that can be found there. So story number 1, we have no government in the United States. They can't do anything. Story number 2, there's a lot more to discuss here, but climate change absolutely fucked us up in the last 2 weeks. Since we've been gone, we had a polar vortex, a atmospheric river in California, and there was another thing, a bomb cyclone. Is that what we had? A bomb cyclone. That was like
is it once in a lifetime and once in a generation? Because I love
every
that
storm
every
is a
year.
once in a like it rains outside, and they're like, it's a once in a generation rain.
Can you please explain to me what atmospheric river storm is?
So apparently what's happening, and because I am a meteorologist, I can explain this. Apparently what's happening is off the coast of California, there is, we'll just say wind circulating. There's like a current, right? And it is just, it's stuck. It's effectively taking all the the moisture and dumping it on California.
Jeez.
And the latest reports are it's not gonna stop. The original forecast was like you'll get like 2 days of winds and rain. It's gonna be really intense and really bad. There's a lot of things that could happen. And then there was a stop like yesterday or today. And then they're saying, oh, the new weather report is, expect more of that for possibly the next like 2 weeks. It's just going to rain. They're expecting 10 inches of rain in some places.
Wow.
Could this be good for the future of California? The drought. Yeah, I mean, they've been in a drought. The fires.
It doesn't rain for 5 years and then it rains
I
all
mean,
at
yeah,
once.
like there's a better scenario, but could there be a silver lining in this?
We should ask the beavers. They will know.
Somebody needs to call the beaver department in California to find out what this means for the beavers. But I will say that when you have 20 years of effectively a perma-drought, dumping all the water at once is generally not good. That's not usually the way it works.
That doesn't work well for my plants that I forget to water for like a month and then I just drown them.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Everything's already dead. In fact, they've done studies that show just the soil itself. When soil is already wet, it absorbs water better. So when soil is parched, like totally parched, devoid of water from a drought, it repels the water. And that's why you get giant mudslides and like you get like rivers that, fill up so fast because it can't get absorbed fast enough. So what's happening right now is California is effectively being washed out into the ocean. Like we thought it was going to be an earthquake.
That is every conservative's dream.
I know. Everywhere. Especially their third story, Southwest Airlines and their apology tour, because Southwest does the majority of their flying in this country in California, up and down the coast of California, in and out of California. It's a big hub for them. Southwest Air. Here's just a short list. Now, if you haven't been paying attention, this is how fun the holidays were. While we were in the midst of a bomb, cyclone, polar vortex, whatever. Southwest Airlines, all the airlines got canceled, and Southwest never got back to actually flying airplanes. Southwest Airlines CEO described Monday's operational meltdown. That was from a week and a half ago Monday. Southwest Airlines CEO on flight chaos, no way to almost apologize enough. Almost apologize enough. I like that phrasing. Southwest Airlines revises financial forecast. CEO apologizes again. Southwest Airlines holiday week from hell may cost the company up to $700 million for basically a week and a half of not having
they were the
ability to fly planes.
Grinch to thousands of people.
Yeah, they were the worst. And the CEO has been busy apologizing, but I covered on Wednesday. You want to know how many times the board of Southwest Airlines apologized? 0 times. There were 0 apologies from the board of Southwest, including from the quote-unquote lead independent director, Bill Cunningham, who's been on the board for 22 years, like almost all of which he was on the board with the current CEO.
Boo.
That's independence. And those two are the most influential according to our rating of power on that board. So those are your three to choose from. You've got we have no government, you've got climate change fucked us up in the last week and a half, and the Southwest Apology Tour.
I'll go first, Jesse.
You always go first.
You always go first. You don't even need
Just
to
waiting.
say it.
I'm going to go with we have no government because losing so many votes in a row. I mean, at what point does one give up?
I'm wondering, why did the Democrats not call up McCarthy and say, hey, give us the committee seats that the 20 assholes over there, we'll find you 20 votes. Give us the committee seats and don't do X, Y, or Z. I mean, he's already making a bargain with one devil to try to get on the, why not the other devil to him?
The worst kind.
Come on.
Or the Democrats could be like, hey, you Republicans on the fringes, we only need 6 of you.
Or the Democrats could basically say, you know what, Hakeem Jeffries is an awesome candidate for us, but we're going to actually pick a centrist as our speaker. And if we can get like 10 centrist Republicans to vote for them, you have a functioning government again. Imagine
so
that.
Many options.
What
Let's just try
was
the
that
same
like?
thing over and over again.
What would that be like? Jesse, you nodded when Ari said it.
Yeah, I'm choosing the no government. I mean,
That's
pretty
it.
big story.
In this country, for sure. No, I meant to hit answer correct button. There's the button. That is the correct answer. So let's move on to goodliest of the week.
Have some good stuff this week.
Yeah, where did you get all these stories from? It's almost like somebody populated it for you.
Yeah, it's called the Headlines Fairy. We're going to start with abortion. Walgreens becomes the first U.S. pharmacy chain to say it will sell the abortion pill. CVS soon followed with their announcement. And this is because the FDA recently dropped long-standing restrictions. It happened this week, and these restrictions, the rule was that the patients were required to obtain the abortion pill in person in clinics, hospitals, or other healthcare provider places. And I mean, that's a pretty big hurdle that the FDA just dropped, especially in some states where you have one of these clinics or in rural areas where your hospital is so far away. So CVS and Walgreens, they're the 2 largest drugstore chains in the U.S., and this will significantly expand access to abortion pills in states, only in states where abortion is legal, though. So we still have, our biggest problem from Roe versus Wade getting overturned, that this is not legal in states where abortion is totally banned. But,
how soon until like someone named Doris in a state where it's legal just starts a small business buying the pills at her local CVS and mailing them to people who could use them in states where it's illegal?
This could be our side hustle. Let's do it.
I don't think it's a good side hustle.
Now we're trying to monetize Now we're trying to monetize injustice. Love this.
Yeah, congratulations,
Listen,
Ari.
revenue streams. I'm thinking over here.
Yeah, that's right. Free Float's got an office to pay for now, people. Let's start throwing us some money, please.
So, the Wall Street Journal got a scoop saying that Patagonia will test solar windows, like normal see-through windows that can gather solar power. So
let's go.
Awesome.
Let's give Tesla some competition.
The manufacturer of these solar windows is a California startup called Next Energy Technologies, And they were given $2.5 million 5 years ago by the Energy Department because they won a Technology to Market 3 award. And this was a grant, from the Obama, set up from way before by the Obama administration. And it's actually coming to fruition. So the difference between your normal solar panels and these window solar panels, obviously the normal ones, they're black, you cannot see through them, right? But these new windows will have a new organic thin film technology that can be sprayed or painted onto different surfaces like glass.
Sprayed?
Yeah. So
That's
it is
crazy.
super cool, and it will be Patagonia's headquarters building in California that will launch with these new windows and start testing them. That technology, it has been tested at prototype level, and then the next level up, which is right before scaling up, which I can't remember what it's called now. So it is new, but it has shown promise. So this is wonderful. Just think about all the buildings, all the glass window buildings. I'm in New York looking out, and that is every new building.
No, I'm in New York. I'm fancy now.
I'm in New York looking at all the fancy buildings. So I thought
I
that was
love
really
this. Cool. Very cool.
And number 3, a headline I found on my own.
Oh, boo.
The Federal Trade Commission proposed yesterday banning employers from requiring employees to sign non-compete agreements, which prevent workers from taking positions at competitors for a period of time after they leave a job. The FTC saying they estimate that 30 million people, which is about 1 in 5 workers, would be impacted by this new rule change, and the rule could increase wages by nearly $300 billion a year. Now,
Wow.
Non-compete agreements started with, CEO or some other executive, John, so that they don't jump ship from company A to company B. They do the same
Dare you
thing.
make fun of John.
Well, there's lots of Johns. And take all the knowledge in their brains if they have any. However, this agreement impacts low-wage workers too, like minimum wage workers, people who work in security, like being a security guard. It is ridiculous. So, it pisses me off. And so there is the specific complaint about the security guards, for example. It was for 2 years, they couldn't join another security guard company. And if they did so, they could be fined up to $100,000, making minimum
absurd.
wage absurd. So good for the FTC. And I think this would benefit workers, the economy, everybody. So
These are actually 3 decent ones.
it
helps that I picked 2 of them.
Backhanded compliment.
It is such a good job.
And I
You picked
cannot
2 of
believe-
mine too.
Matt, I picked Walgreens before I saw you picked Walgreens.
Sure. you
I
did.
was also gonna send her Walgreens and saw.
Sure. Yeah, no, everybody's going to do the same thing. I'm loath to say this, but you did skip 2 of the greatest stories of the entire year to date. That include
I know which one.
the Wisconsin dairy factory. That there was a fire in a Wisconsin dairy factory, and it melted all the butter they had, and it clogged the canal that the factory was on.
The fire was in the
genius.
butter room.
Yeah, the butter room. I mean, it's just genius. Like, I just love the idea of a
That
canal
sounds so
with like
messy.
full of butter. Like,
Oh, right. And it the butter runoff prevented firefighters from reaching their
yeah, they were like sliding everywhere. It was like
disaster.
They were
They
asking
need
residents.
spikes.
They were asking residents to bring toast, just wipe it up, and that'll be better.
Absorb it.
And then the other one you skipped was Greta Thunberg's accidental takedown of a dude for human trafficking.
Yeah.
Not only did she troll him on Twitter after he trolled her, and then she clapped back, but to get her back, he takes a picture, a selfie, a picture of himself in Hungary with a pizza box in front of him from a local pizza place so that the Hungarian officials looking for him could find him for human trafficking. He got caught because of Greta.
She's amazing. Yeah.
But I guess I'll vote on these. Like, I can't vote on butter and Greta. Do you want to go first, Jesse? I don't. These are all tight for me.
Solar windows. I know it's like not totally a thing yet, but the promise is there, and I think they can be hugely applicable.
Listen, I'm telling you, last year, climate change fighting was a big thing. This continues it.
I know it's big, but they're testing it, right? Like, the two things that happened this week were that pharmacy chains are going to sell basically the Plan B pill, and the FTC banning non-competes. But they proposed it, right? Did it pass?
They proposed yesterday. You think it's going to pass in one day, Matt? Come on.
That's what I'm saying. So the winner actually is the abortion pill. Come on, people.
That's so boring. That's a technicality. Yeah, we can't go get it. It's a technicality.
The crowd just got bigger. The crowd is swelling for my vote. It's almost as if I'm controlling the crowd using buttons.
All right. Since it's a tie, I get to be the tiebreaker.
Oh,
and the winner and the correct answer is non-compete agreement banning. Yep. Moving on.
Ari won that round. Okay, moving on to Assholiest of the Week. I mean, you have to like the music. It's hard not to like this.
But you're taking us on an emotional roller coaster because you're like uplifting us with that nice jingle, and then it's just like, assholes.
That's true. Well, the assholes this week are actually at least in line with some of the stories of the week. First up is Southwest Airlines Board of Directors. Like I said, these idiots have not issued an apology, and they have not said or done anything. And in fact, one of the stories I read was the Southwest Airlines holiday week from hell may cost the company up to $700 million. The next line in that story is, here's what boards can learn from the fiasco. Oh. How about Southwest's board? How about if they invested $1 into upgrading their stupid, antiquated systems so that they operated like a modern airline?
Well,
that's their job.
What's their incentive, Matt? What's their incentive?
I guess if the average age of the board is 71 years old.
They don't get it.
They're using they're still on Friendster, I guess. What are they?
They probably think everything's being done by hand.
They have Palm Pilot still. They're
That's right.
Using charger pagers.
Someone just showed them a BlackBerry, and they're like, "What is this fancy doodad?"
They don't even need it. They're telling their assistant to, type out their texts.
They're an easy layup for asshole of the week. But they have stiff competition from Vince McMahon, who's officially back in the WWE.
What a Connecticut name.
Oh, ugh. I'm going to let Jesse cover this story. Suffice it to say that it's not surprising that Vince McMahon is back, because on the board of WWE is co-CEO Stephanie McMahon, his daughter, who owns 39% of the influence and power on that board, and Paul Levesque, or Triple H, Stephanie McMahon's husband, his son-in-law, who's 32% of the influence on the board. So when you get to what people could think it's a good idea for Vince McMahon to come back to this board after all the sexual harassment lawsuits, the two people who are likely there, who are in support of him and throwing their weight behind it, are his daughter and son-in-law. Oof. That's how companies should operate. And the last one I've got is Louisiana. And there's a lot of reasons Louisiana could be an asshole. There's just a lot. Except that here was the headline. Pornhub is requiring viewers in Louisiana to verify their age with a government ID as part of a new state law.
What?
The law states that it's supposedly to protect minors from harmful material, pornographic material, but harmful material. And this is how they defined harmful material. Quote, any material that the average person applying contemporary community standards already, I'm confused. Like, because I'm pretty sure my community standards are not yours, would find taking the material as a whole and with respect to minors is designed to appeal to or is designed to pander to the prurient interest. First of all, using the word prurient, that word is like from 1763. It feels like one of those.
It's not contemporary, that's for sure.
You said contemporary community standards and then used a word from the 17th century. It goes on to say, any of the following material that exploits, is devoted to, or principally consists of descriptions of actual, simulated, or animated display or depiction of any of the following in a manner patently offensive with respect to minors: pubic hair, anus, vulva, genitals, nipple of the female breast.
Rude.
They did not say, they specify just female nipples are
like
prurient.
Instagram.
Have they not been following the Free the Nipple movement or what?
Apparently not. That's not in their
Hasn't reached
standards.
Louisiana.
And it goes on to say touching, caressing, fondling of nipples. This one didn't. The fondling part was equal. Like they don't want you fondling
No
male nipples
stipulation.
or female nipples. There's no gender assigned to that. Fondling of nipples, breasts, buttocks, anuses or genitals, sexual intercourse, masturbation, sodomy, bestiality. Have they ever seen Pornhub? That's not even on there. Oral copulation, flagellation, excretory functions. Excretory functions is interesting.
I don't even know all of these words. I'm gonna have to do some Googling.
If you go on YouTube and you search for what is it? When they give you like a cleanse, like a
colonoscopy?
Not a colonoscopy, but they drain your innards. There's a thing where they do that, right? I'm blanking on the word. Kind of like that, right? Is that excretory function? Like you can
probably.
All right. What is that? And there's sodomy a little bit. They got to stick something in you. Like the material taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value for minors.
The artistic one's going to be argued for sure.
Serious.
But I love political value. I was masturbating politically. Like I love that. No, my vulva was out for political reasons. I want that to be an argument. It applies to only websites where a substantial portion, quote unquote, which is defined as 33.1/3% of the total material on the site is devoted to this.
What?
Do you think
What
there's somebody
site is only 33% devoted to this?
They're just a third of the way into the porn industry.
like is there is there a site
You can check
somewhere
your credit score on the other side.
where look, we upload full pornographic videos and really only a third of the video is the porn. The rest of it is the repairman walks in and bends over and I'm really sexually attracted to him. So you could argue that of the 40-minute, video, only 12 minutes is actual sexual acts, in which case we fall below the threshold, right? Isn't that true?
That is true.
In order to verify if you are looking to get on Pornhub in Louisiana, you have to download the LA wallet, the Louisiana wallet, which was made by a company called Invoke, a local software developer. They use it for digital driver's licenses. Now, remember that these are the people who are banning BlackRock for discriminating against guns, where they don't want you to have to show an ID to buy a gun. But if you want to go on Pornhub and masturbate for 4 seconds and you're 16 years old, you need to show a digital trackable ID so the government can verify how old you are and Pornhub can verify how old you are. This is the same state. Those things are happening.
This is terrible. Everybody get a VPN. Maybe we should invest in VPN companies.
There you go. Actually, good idea. That's the 3, except most of the VPNs are in like Russia, so not great. Those are your 3 choices: Southwest Airlines board of directors, Vince McMahon, and the board at WWE, and Louisiana. All of Louisiana right now.
I don't understand. They're just sitting around being like, how can we screw up people's lives even more?
Yeah,
what's the problem?
I know that I know that porn can hypersexualize, kids and whatever, and it's not meant for minors. Okay, let's just have that on the record.
Okay.
Is there anyone who wasn't 13 years old that didn't see a Playboy at some point in their life? Right? Like, this goes back to like the dawn of humanity, where we're driven by sex, greed, and fear. That's what we're driven by.
I would appreciate these legislators more if they were like, hey, YouTube, hey, Twitter, tighten your crap. Not.
There was a whole section of this law that actually spells out the effects of watching porn, which I thought was funny. But it talks about like how porn can have negative self-esteem issues, how body dysmorphia, like all sorts of things. And if I just put Facebook there or Instagram there instead of pornography, it would be the same thing. Yeah. What are we doing?
So yeah.
So true.
I can't wait until this company starts tracking, like, how often does the governor log into his account?
Well, he's of age. I hope.
Well, that's okay. I still like to know how long.
So,
all right,
do
I'm
any
gonna go
votes?
first.
Yeah, of course you are.
I'm gonna go with. Oh boy, Southwest is really just such a big jerk. But Louisiana.
You could go with ruining holidays, ruining wrestling, or ruining porn.
Man, I guess I should have thought about this before. I'm like, I should go first. I'm gonna go with Southwest because it seemed to me an unprecedented, once in a generation meltdown.
It was the atmospheric river of incompetence.
Yeah. So incompetent, and I hope there are some changes to their board because, man, people are idiots.
Jesse.
I'm going Southwest too.
Oh,
ruining holidays. That's pretty asshole-y. That's assholiest.
I know you probably would have chose Vince McMahon, but you're doing Vince McMahon.
I know. I'm going to cover him. I'm going to cover him.
Speaking of doing Vince McMahon next, that means the asshole of the week is Southwest, and we're on to Exhaustingest of the Week. I need like an echo sound effect. See, I'm telling you, this music picks us up after talking about total jerks.
Yeah, it does.
We'll keep experimenting with it. Yeah, so far I like it. I have 4 stories this week.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
But one's very quick. One's pretty long. One's very quick. So, all right. Chevron CEO Mike Wirth defends the industry's highest ever cash haul.
Yeah.
Who's he defending it against? Joe Biden, who has made multiple statements against energy companies' earnings. One of the most serious ones being that they're gouging American people. So Chevron CEO Mike Wirth responded with, "We're in an industry of price takers, not price makers. These are global commodity markets and prices go up, prices come down. Just 2 years ago, we were losing billions of dollars as prices plummeted. And so through the cycle, it's an industry that generates kinda 10-ish returns on capital employed," which is, I think, by the standards of many other industries, pretty modest. So kinda 10-ish. I'd like to fact check those numbers, but it seems a little wishy-washy, but that's his reply to Biden.
Ew.
I like modest. I like the use of the word modest there. Like record-breaking profits.
Modest return.
Well, you know what? It's overall, it's kind of modest.
Also, don't they get money whenever they lose money? So, please.
They're subsidized by the government. So when they lose the money, they still get the government subsidies. And there isn't an instance in which someone was looking at the oil industry and being like, "Oh, you guys are not worth investing. You're terrible. Like we're not, except for the climate change.
Modest returns.
Because you're gonna get some money."
Yeah. So here, it sounds like you both are already like on board with Biden and less so with Mike Wirth. But
I don't know about price gouging. I just like that joke about the fact that it's not modest. Come on, get over it.
So yeah, Chevron is on course to report $37 billion in profit for 2022, 40% higher than a previous record set in 2011. Their return on capital peaked in 2022 at 16.9%, so a little higher than their 10-ish return. And the stock gained 53% last year compared to a 19% drop overall in the overall index.
Wow.
So they're doing pretty well. But they're modest, so they're humble.
I wonder if he gets a modest salary.
He's probably already going to make the amount that the average employee makes by the end of this month.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so, is he on track for that?
2 days in.
Well, I know in the UK it was 5 days in, but in the US it's later.
I think it was 2.
It was earlier.
In the UK it was 5 days. In the US is the US is like 30.
It's like 30.
It's like 300 to 1.
Oh, this is averages?
Yeah. Average.
Average. He'll be fine. He'll be happy at the end of the month when he's already exceeded that.
Boo.
Okay,
we're ready. Be so happy.
So that's pretty exhausting because he's defending his $37 billion in profit. Ready for the next one? Mm-hmm. This shouldn't be shocking. Okay, the headline is "Wives Listen, but Husbands Don't."
Oh, yeah.
Matt, what do you have to say about this?
No, all I do is listen to my wife. So...
Okay, so this is a study done, and there's been over the past 50 years a progressive shift in economic research to learn how households make economic decisions in the real world. This study is part of that. It is a study of a representative sample of Germans. So we're not talking about Americans here, but we'll study the Germans, and I'm sure we can see some similarities. So they were asked in a baseline survey to state their beliefs about their household's rank in national and global income distribution, and they were paid for the accuracy. So they were incentivized to be as accurate as possible. Both men and women were surveyed separately from one another. Then the people conducting the study received these baseline beliefs, and then they randomly selected half the participants to receive accurate information, and then the other half does not get that information. They randomized it, so in some families, the wife was getting the info, some the husband, and some they both got the information. This way they could see how the information disseminates throughout the household. So, and then the participants didn't know that in a year later, they were going to be surveyed again. So they surveyed the households a year later, which gave households plenty of time to stew over the information, to share the information amongst each other, and they were asked to share beliefs again. So when respondents were directly received the information about their true income ranks, both men and women seemed to incorporate the information to a similar degree. So a year later, they still knew they could pinpoint where they were relative. However, they document a sharp gender difference in how men and women react to information discovered by their spouses. So the pass-through of information from women to men is substantially lower than from men to women. When a wife receives the information indirectly through her husband, the effect on her belief about income rank a year later is at least as strong as if she received it directly. In contrast, when the man is indirectly informed, he does not adjust his beliefs a year later. He's like, oh, that can't be true. I'm going to go with my original, even though he's being paid to report accurately.
There was another study done, I remember this from, I think it was my MSCI days, it's similar to this. But it was in employer feedback, like where women, when given feedback by their employer, their manager, tended to take on board the feedback and adjust. Men immediately reject the feedback and do what they were going to do.
Of course they do.
God.
Of course they do. So yeah, they're getting paid to listen to their wives, and they're still not doing it. So imagine what the results would be if we're not getting paid.
Wow, normal day-to-day life. That's exhausting.
So anyways, the creators of the study went on to say that there's a lesson here for policymakers. If money or information should be directed to households, it matters who in the household it's directly targeted to.
Interesting.
Food for thought.
Yeah, this is
That was pretty exhausting.
I need to lay down.
Okay, so let's continue it.
Oh no.
I'm gonna piggyback off of Vince McMahon officially back in WWE. So first of all, just hearing WWE makes me roll my eyes. I just cannot with that being like an industry and whatever. I can't. But furthermore, you have a disgraced former CEO who...
You just discriminate against spandex. That's your problem.
No, I was a volleyball player. I have nothing against spandex. That's fine.
Is there a lot of spandex in volleyball? I don't know.
Yes, that's the uniform. It's like shirts and
It's
spandex. But I will say singlets on men is entirely unattractive. Like, gross.
See?
Put that away.
I'm not listening to you anyway. So...
Okay,
fine.
So he's coming back, right? And this is after just months ago he resigned because they found out that he paid tens of millions of dollars in company money to suppress allegations of sexual misconduct. Tens of millions of dollars with company money. I can only imagine how the accountant felt when they figured that out. Spinning.
Oh my God.
Spinning.
Is he coming back as CEO or is he coming back in some
Well, so
other-
it didn't say CEO, but he wrote to the board of directors expressing his desire to spearhead a strategic review process where he believes that later in the year when they're going to renegotiate the media rights, there might be a chance for sale, which should be guided by his hand as executive director. So, and he said that he's not going to facilitate any of this unless he's the executive director. And the board's response, which we've already addressed, was basically his daughter and her husband, was that the company would be happy to work with him, but it would not be in the shareholders' best interest. Excuse me? Excuse me? We'll be happy to work with you. So again, here they're setting the precedent that as long as he can get the money in a sale, that means more than all of the lives that the tens of millions of dollars that he had to pay out to people whose lives he destroyed through sexual harassment.
Oh my God.
But that's okay. We'll sweep that under the rug. Come back, get us money, sell the company. All good. All good over here. What?
Well, you did point out something that I neglected to point out, which is he's the majority voting power of the organization. Yeah. So
he still holds,
He's going to call
He basically
the board.
talking to himself,
Yeah,
being
he's
like,
talking to himself.
Hey, can I come back? Oh, okay, you want to be executive director? Okay. Oh, you ruin people's lives? No problem. Just make us a lot of money.
We'd be happy to.
I would love to have been on that phone call he had with himself.
What?
Great.
My mind is blown that this is still a thing and that this board just is such a joke. Nobody realizes it is, and everyone's going to keep supporting WWE.
If we're being real,
blah, blah, blah.
We are talking about people in spandex pretend hitting one another, right?
To me, even that, I'm like, how is this big?
The whole thing is kind of a joke.
Blows my mind.
Well, my question is...
The only thing that isn't a joke is the sexual harassment. The only thing in the entire ecosystem of what you described that is not somewhat comedic is sexual harassment.
How old were you when you figured out it was fake hitting each other?
like immediately.
Oh.
Are you
Good
kidding
for
me?
you. Good for you.
Ahead of the curve.
Moving on.
Let's do this.
Oh, God. All right.
So anyways, that's just exhausting, and I can't believe that. I mean, I hope nobody goes into any WWE shows, doesn't give them any money. I know that's not going to happen, but
We'll boycott them.
Okay, now this is a pretty sad one. It's short, quick. Glaciers are going bye-bye. We're going to wave bye to the glaciers. The world's glaciers are shrinking and disappearing faster than scientists thought, with 2/3 of them projected to melt out of existence by the end of the century.
That's depressing.
Worst case scenario. There's a worst case scenario here that it is said that it's unlikely, but the worst case scenario is that 83% of the world's glaciers will disappear by 2100.
I guess I'll
This
be
is
exhausted
getting
in
emotional.
2100. Yeah, I know.
Well, right, but this is based on the trend, how we're trending. So this is not the 83%, but 2/3 will be gone.
All right, here are your options. Chevron CEO Mike Wirth and Chevron's cash haul. Wives don't listen to husbands. Or wives listen to
No,
husbands.
wives
and husbands
listen.
don't. Sorry, I wasn't
He
listening.
didn't even do that on purpose.
Thank you. He's just so used to not
Vince
listening to
McMahon
women.
is back and glaciers are leaving.
Oh, Vince McMahon. Ugh.
Oh, you're going with Vince McMahon?
No, I'm not.
Oh, I thought that was right off the bat.
No, I have a great distaste. I'm gonna go with wives listen but husbands don't, because I find it really interesting, about how that could impact communication to the households.
I am
And not
going to
just
have to
by-
apologize
And not just
to
by
Matt now.
government, but by companies, right? Like, you want the message to get to a household.
Here's
Find
the
the
funny
man.
thing. I know now that you are forwarding this to your husband.
Oh,
it's-
absolutely,
this is-
immediately. Immediately.
Oh, yeah.
This is going.
It is so annoying how many times he asks the same thing.
I'm going to send it out to all of my male friends and be like, FYI, listen to your wives.
Oh, God. I'm glad I am not.
Don't lose out on money.
But that's a nice guess, and it's also wrong. The correct answer is Mike Wirth and Chevron, and here's why. When crude prices were down in 2019 and 2020, do you know how much Mike Wirth took home? $33 million. He got
I
paid.
guess 20. A modest 20.
20 was his 2018 salary.
Wow.
And that's up from 2017 when he made 11.7 million.
Wow, he must have felt so broke.
He was making a modest salary. Somehow, in the depths of the oil
tripled.
cycle that, we don't really understand, and he was making 360 times the average employee.
He tripled his salary.
Yeah, so it's been really hard to make a modest return, Mike. Why don't you get paid a modest salary, considering the average take-home for the industry is below what you made? So why don't you get something modest?
Bill.
So I'm going with him, and that is the correct answer.
Bill.
But Jesse has to break the tie.
Okay, I'm going to go with Worth, too.
Wow, I finally got one. Finally,
You got
someone
one.
didn't just say,
And this wasn't your story. I picked it.
yeah, well,
Yay.
I will tell you, I covered the story yesterday. So
I actually did start listening to yesterday's, but I must not have gotten through it.
there you go. Let's do Who Won the Week to get out of here.
I'll go first.
All right, you go first.
We have a winner for the biggest loser this week, and that is Kevin McCarthy.
Oh, wah, wah,
Biggest
wah.
loser.
I think the winner of the week was Vince McMahon. I think you can't look
Why?
because of all the stuff happening with Kevin McCarthy, because of climate change happening, for all the
don't give
real
him
stuff.
this.
No one is paying attention to the fact that a dual-class dictator whose family is on the board just and has spent tens of millions of dollars of shareholder money defending himself from sexual harassment allegations. He put himself back on his own board, and nobody cares. That's winning.
There are
that's
some
what winning
governance
looks
lessons
like.
here.
That is what winning looks like.
I'm really curious who is a shareholder of WWE now.
There are lots of shareholders. There are lots of shareholders of WWE. Most of them are probably index providers. So BlackRock, if you're listening, you probably own this. You own that externality. Congratulations.
Engage.
Jesse, do you have a winner
No,
of the week?
No, I don't like anything this week.
I like nothing this week. That's how we're going to end. That is Jesse, the Money Whisperer, and Ari, the Data Queen. I am Matt McCarthy. We are Free Float. This was Business Pants, January 6, 2023. Come back next week. On Monday, Damien's back. He's going to be a mess. He's going to be a total mess. And we're going to make him do the show anyway. Thursday of next week, Vivek Ramaswamy will join us, the author of Woke Inc. and the CEO, founder of Strive Asset Management, the anti-woke asset manager. And on Friday, we do our prediction-gasm. It's all coming. Goodbye.